Banpresto's World Collectible Little Minifigures. These are cheap quality figures for only about £10. Depending on where you go, you might pay up to £15 and you could pay as low as £5. I have seen many of these about in a lot of my stores lately, so I wanted to grab a couple so we can take a closer look and see if they are worth that £10 price mark. And of course I had to go for Demon Slayer. Can't really go wrong with Demon Slayer. I have never bought one of these before. I say I have seen these around a boatload in stuff like Traveling Man, Forbidden Planet, Be More Geek, all these different kind of geek nerdy kind of anime stores and things like that. I've seen them loads online, but I've never really picked one up myself to have a proper look at it. So in this case I did get, there is a total of 5 different characters in this set. I picked up A and B, Tanjiro and Giyu, or Giyu, or Gi, the Gi. I always forget. It's a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. Based on the size of that box, I thought it might be in more or less to the full size of the box. Yeah, it is a little bit more smaller. This comes in the 4 parts. So you've got Tanjiro himself, his sword, and the 2 bits that make up the stand. Nice black acrylic stand. Normally these of course are like solid black rather than slightly transparent. A little close-up of his sword there. And there we have Tanjiro from the Banpresto World Figure Collection. Now well, that is not good. Try again. He kept on falling off, and mainly the sword kept on falling out of his hand. I can kind of understand these are tiny little hands, tiny little parts. So as you'll see up on the close-up here, with Tanjiro, there is actually quite a lot of detail in him. His face it's Tanjiro. There's no doubt about that. It is definitely Tanjiro. He's got the proper scar on his face there. He got all the slashes from the fight itself. Going around the detail and shape, you got even on his earrings, all that detail is there in his earrings. The paint job on the cloak and his garments there, nothing wrong with that. Down to the feet again, slight, tiny little bits where the paint is slightly out, but that's like really me massively nitpicking at it. The flaming sword is pretty cool. The scabbard for it is a little bit bent, but again, that's me being very nitpicky. He is pretty cool looking for £10, considering if this is the quality and standard of all of these, and I've seen some of these go for £5, mainly the one-piece ones I've seen go for £5, this is really impressive for the price and the size. Very impressive Tanjiro though, there. So on to Giyu, Gi, Gai, Goo, Gaga, this dude. They didn't have Shinobu or Rui in there. I would have actually loved to get Shinobu. It is Shinobu, isn't it? Shinobu. It's definitely Shinobu. I think so. Let me know down below if I'm right. I'm fairly sure it's Shinobu. I'm just butchering everything's names on it. I'm just terrible at butchering names. Should be twistedgeek, the anime name butcher. That should be my tagline. So he does look slightly larger than Tanjiro. I think that is more than likely just because of the pose. Since he's more upright, Tanjiro's is more like crouched down a little bit. Same kind of thing. 4 pieces. The sword, the stand, and the character itself. On the close-up here, you'll see a couple of things straight away. The face, the look, the style. It is definitely that character. He looks definitely like him. Just the same as I've got the bigger Banpresto version up there, the prize figure version of him. Definitely see that resemblance. That is great. In the cloak, again, when it comes to fake ones, this is the thing that they'll always mess up. They never get that pattern correct. Of course, by Banpresto, it's going to be perfect. No issues there whatsoever. Going on, there is a little bit of paint issue on the bottom of his bottom where there's a bit of purple on there. There's a little bit of purple on there instead of the white. A little minor thing. The sword was a snug fit in his hand, but that is also fine because once it's in there, it's not really going to come out. There is detail on the sword, right down to some of the Japanese letters on the sword, which you kind of see there. It's a little bit blurry, but for the size of it, that's pretty nice little extra details to it. And going around, paintwork overall, other than a few scuffs here and there, for a £10 minifigure, they are pretty damn awesome. So to answer the question, are these figures worth it? Based on these 2 that I've got for £10 each, and especially if you can pick them up cheaper elsewhere, these are well worth it. Like something like in the collection unit, if you had some like acrylic risers in there, you can get a load of these in there, looking really nice spaced out. As you can tell, some might not get a little bit more crowded at the moment because of the size of them, but some like these they would go anywhere. They could go on your computer, on your desk, at work, in a cabinet, and they look really, really good for the price. So yes, I definitely recommend them. So if you're also looking for more of these kind of smaller scale figures at this kind of price point, about £10 to £12, then you are going to love Chibi Masters. And here is the full Demon Slayer set that I opened, and they are just as cool as these Banpresto ones. So I will see you over there, and now I'm going this way to get there.